Welcome to Smashterpieces, a casual walk through the history of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. My name is Joe.
And my name is Matt.
And if you're new here, what we are usually doing on this show is we are playing one game for every character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate from 1984's Duck Hunt to 2019's Fire Emblem Three Houses. But today is a bonus episode. We're going to talk about a game that's representing an assist trophy.
Not anymore, it's not.
Not anymore, it's not. Which it never occurred to me until you told me this, like, around the time we finished playing the game. Saki Amamiya from 2000's Sin and Punishment, the N64 game that did not come out in America until it came out on Wii Virtual Console for some reason. He's not an assist trophy in Ultimate. It's only in Brawl and Wii U. What the hell?
I don't know. And it's like his Mii costume's still in the game. It's not like they lost the rights.
How could they have lost the rights? It's a Nintendo property, isn't it? Treasure just made it.
Yeah, but like either way, it's just like there's no explanation. It's just not there.
If I had to take a guess, it's probably because they were like, hey, too many of our assist trophies are, I'm going to run around the stage and shoot at you. Maybe we should cut down a couple of them.
You know, that would be a good explanation, I think.
Yeah, and at that point, I can't really blame them, but it does feel kind of like a downer of like, oh, this one character. I didn't know what the fuck Sin and Punishment was until Sakurai showed off his assist trophy in Brawl. I'd never heard of it.
Was that before or after the Virtual Console release?
That would have been before, I think, but not that long before.
Because I know that I was aware of the Virtual Console release as soon as it happened, but...
So, it came out on the Wii Virtual Console in Japan on September 20th, 2007, PAL regions on September 28th, and then it came here in October 1st of 2007. So, That would have been... close at the very least.
Well, as it happens, we can check the exact day that the assist trophy was
that is
shown off.
true. That is true. And I imagine that assist trophy had a non-zero amount of influence on that game coming out in the West at all. Because, like, again, I didn't know what the fuck Sin and Punishment was before this assist trophy was shown off.
The assist trophy was shown off after the Virtual Console release.
Wow, interesting.
November 22nd.
So then it's probably the other way around. The Virtual Console release potentially could have had an effect on the assist trophy. Honestly, I could see it being a thing of like Nintendo went to...
I mean, they were announced at like within a month or two of each other. So they can't really have... It can't be like the reaction to one caused the other. They were both planned at the same time.
That's not so much what I mean. I more mean like Nintendo... probably went to Sakurai and we're like, hey, we're gonna release this game in the West for the first time ever. Could you like put this character somewhere in Smash so that Americans have any context at all? So Sin and Punishment was a Nintendo 64 game released in November of 2000 in Japan. It was developed by Treasure, who are known for making very good, very, very niche games. And they work with Nintendo quite a bit, actually. And it was also just Nintendo R&D 1. It's a rail shooter, mostly. It is the most arcade-ass Nintendo game I've ever played.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a Nintendo game. Like, it's kind of like... It feels like it's a port of an arcade game.
And I looked it up. It never came out in arcades. This was a console game from the start.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's so fucking weird. And also, like, all of the voiceover is in English?
Mm-hmm. For a game... It was... Well, so I think that it was, like, planned to come to America and then just never did.
Like, it's all in English. The story doesn't make any fucking sense because you start in the middle of it, seemingly, but there is no first part of it anywhere.
No, I don't understand any of it.
Like, I when we were talking about it before we recorded, like a couple weeks ago, you described it as it feels like a sequel to a game that doesn't exist. And
Yeah.
that's exactly how it feels. They don't... You're fighting these creatures called the ruffians, and they're attacking... Maybe they're aliens. I don't know. It's you could play as Saki and also his quote unquote girlfriend Airan.
Achi is there. If you, the listener, are wondering who Achi is, so am I.
Yeah, I still am not certain. So we both played this on the Nintendo Switch Online. I played with the Nintendo 64 controller, which, hey, if you can play this game, you might want to get that. Like, you played on the Pro controller, didn't you?
Yeah. This is the only game in the Nintendo Switch Online collection that has its own unique button mapping. Which is somehow worse. Like, not just worse in general, but somehow worse for this specific game
Beautiful.
than the default button mapping is. And obviously you can't change it.
And like, so like this game's anime as fuck. This is literally just, what if we just slammed Evangelion and Gurren Lagann into each other and then made a game out of it?
When I started it, I sent you a message that said when I first played this back in 2007, I had neither played Final Fantasy VII nor watched Evangelion, and now I've done both. And
yeah, it has a lot of Final Fantasy VII in it too.
Yeah, this game is like beyond description, I feel like.
I genuinely don't know how to... So, it's a rail shooter for the most part. Usually, you're firing at things in front of you. There's one moment where it decides it's going to be a side-scroller. I think that part sucks.
That is easily the worst part.
There's a few... No, I think the worst part is still the fucking... The fleet. While you're flying around that fucking fleet of aircraft carriers. Somehow that is somehow worse.
Difficult part that goes on for like way too long, I think.
Oh god, it does.
But I still think it's... So overall, as an arcade rail shooter, I think this is a pretty good game.
As a console release...
Well, so it even has like the quarter munching kind of design. But like, I don't hate that. Because it's like, it's score attack condensed down to its purest form. And it's a very short game, too. Like,
yeah, you can finish it in like 2 hours.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you won't. Because it's also, it gets pretty difficult. So the fact that it's so short makes it kind of okay to me that it's a game where you're sitting down and you're doing a run. It's almost like a roguelike but it's the same exact experience every time. Mm-hmm. Where this time is going to be the time that I do it. And it's not, because the game's hard. But eventually you'll finally do it.
And also NSO has save states. That helps. If you're someone like me.
Yeah. It didn't on Wii.
Sure didn't. I think I bought it on Wii and played like one level of it and never went back. I have vague memories of doing that.
But I don't mind that kind of design in general, especially when it is executed in such a way like Sin and Punishment where it works.
Well, yeah, again, like it feels like it was designed to be an arcade game, and that's just how arcade games are.
Mm-hmm. I opened the soundtrack to just autoplay through the whole thing while, like, as soon as we opened our Discord call, and it already finished.
Yeah, the soundtrack is very bland. I have like 2 tracks to bring up later.
I have nothing.
Sounds like
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. So yeah, it's usually from behind, except for the one part where it decides it's going to be a side-scrolling game, and it sucks when it does that.
And also, like, graphically, wow, this game looks good for N64.
Yeah, honestly, this ain't a bad looking game on the 64. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, by today's standards, it's ugly as shit. But
in terms of realistic graphics, I think it is the best looking N64 game.
Honestly, it's pretty. It looks like a PS1 game, which, given that the PS1, I believe, was the higher powered system of the two at that time, like, it's pretty good. Not bad. So while you're playing as Saki or Airan, you have two weapons at your disposal. You have the gun and you have the sword. They're both on the same thing, but we can't call it a gun blade because then Square Enix will sue us. But basically the way it works is you can hold down B to shoot, and you can let go of B, and if you press B while an enemy is close to you or in range, you will slash it with your sword, which the sword does a lot more damage. And I kind of like that in particular because it made me have to break my usual habit of I'm just going to glue B down and be shooting forever, because there are some parts of the game that are straight up impossible if you do that.
Yeah. It makes you think. And on that note, there's also the different types of targeting reticles where you can swap between a red targeting reticle that you control manually and a blue one that does auto lock on. And it's balanced really well, I think, in that you don't want to just sit on one for the entire game, because the blue reticle that's the lock on is good for when you're focusing on one enemy and want to take it out, but it is very slow to swap between enemies. So when there's a lot of stuff you need to take care of, the red targeting reticle is good for manual control. I think that it's good at keeping the gameplay varied, where, okay, when it's blue, you can just kind of focus on keeping yourself alive and not getting hit. When it's red, you're in a more active, I am destroying things mode. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's very interesting the way they sort of tuned all that. Like, I think it has some points where it's just like, no, there's no margin for error. Fuck you. You do it right or you die. Those are your two options. One being the giant bullet that you have to break before it hits Saki in his Ava weapon form.
They watched Evangelion.
Yeah, they watched Evangelion. And I don't know, I hated that one sequence. I had to do it like 15 times, because if you miss a single sword slash, it's impossible. You lose.
I think you can miss a single sword slash.
Like that's not even the last level. There's like an hour of video game after that. And it's by far, I think, well, no, it's the second hardest thing. The first hardest thing, I think, was the little cute mascot character thing that you have to murder on the ship as Airan. Whatever the fuck its name is, I don't remember. Nor do I care.
The one that Brad likes.
Yeah, Brad.
I don't remember if his name's actually Brad, but it sure feels like it was.
It is actually Brad. I'm looking at the Wikipedia article right now.
Cool. So the main villain is named Brad. That's
so
his
you
whole
have
name.
Saki, Airan, Achi, and Brad. But it's like this fight where there's a bunch of pillars surrounding it, and you have to circle it and get it, and hit it in certain. That part fucking sucked, only because it takes so long. And hey, here's where the arcade design actually does become a problem, in my opinion. Why is there a timer? Why is there a timer on levels?
Yes, the timer sucks.
There does not have to be a timer on these levels. I'm fine if there's a timer, if it's like you have to get out of here in a certain amount of time, but there's not. It's just there is a timer. When it goes down to 0, you just lose. 'Cause fuck you. And that fucking sucks. I'm even fine with this game having lives for the same reason you mentioned about its design of like, it's supposed to be a run. You're supposed to get as far as you can. Like that's perfectly fine. The timer does not need to be there.
Nah. That is definitely like arcade quarter munching, the timer, where it's like it doesn't feel like it flows back into that feeling of I'm on a run and I'm trying to do my best. It's we need to kick you out so we can get more money out of you.
Yeah, we need to kick you out so the next kids put in some quarters, which, I mean, I've never tried putting quarters in a Nintendo 64. I assume it would go poorly, but I can't say for sure. Have you?
I'm not going down this bit.
I'm just going to go shove quarters into my fucking 20-year-old Nintendo 64. Oh, God. The N64 is older than 20, isn't it? Fuck.
Hey, none of this game's soundtrack sounds like it's from this game. I'm sorry. I'm still listening to it again. This sounds like Microsoft Flight Simulator.
It all sounds like every Sega Genesis game I've ever heard.
I know we're not in the music section, but I just gotta say it while I'm thinking of it. This one track that I'm listening to now, it's called Agave,
I think.
This is like from Wave Race or something.
This is of no fault to the game itself, but it feels like these songs came from the same place that, like, that kind of music that you hear in indie games now when it's like a cyberpunk pixel aesthetic game. That's what it sounds like to me.
I don't know if I know those games, but you would be the one to know.
It is very bland. Very, very bland. Even for the N64, like
the feelings that I'm getting from this song are ranging from Microsoft Flight Simulator to Wave Race 64 to Sonic Adventure. And that doesn't, like, that's not, I don't think that's a positive thing that your song reaches that wide a range of topics.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird. Yeah, I honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to bring any tracks to talk about, because it's nothing. It's a really, really bland, unmemorable soundtrack. That being said, I kind of really like this game's plot, even if I don't know what it is.
I think it's fun. I do think it's really fun.
It's a fun bit of, like, sci-fi bullshit. Like, at one point, Saki and Airan, like, teleport away and they're in an abandoned store, like a general store or something, and just eating. And then suddenly Achi is there, and and then Airan is gone.
There's like a flash forward to the future at one point.
Where Airan unknowingly is helping her and Saki's daughter? Son? I don't remember if it was a daughter or a son. Their child.
It's an anime child.
It is an anime child. But my favorite plot point is, by the way, spoilers, Achi ends up being the actual main antagonist of the game. For some reason, I don't know what her motivations were, and I don't think I ever will, but one of the parts of her plan is she tells Airan, like, no, I'm going to need you two to fuck. I'm going to need you two to fuck because it's important. And she never says why. Nothing is explained. Nothing that happens in this game is explained in any way. And I kind of love it.
Also, it doesn't help that, like, the dialogue is mixed so low that it's impossible to understand what anyone is saying.
It sure fucking is, baby.
I might need to play the fan translation so I can read the subtitles for this English dialogue.
Nothing in this story makes any sense whatsoever.
It doesn't at all, but I'm here for it.
At one point, Saki turns into weapon, and they never explain why. Even the characters are just like, "Oh man, it sucks that happened."
I think like his blood or something.
I think didn't like Achi give Saki her blood, something to do with her blood. Achi's an alien baby.
I don't know. I still don't really know anything about Achi.
At some point, the final boss is literally Achi sending a fucking summoning a fake Earth and then dropping meteors onto a real Earth, and you have to break the meteors before it becomes a fucking Space Invaders game.
And it's awesome.
It's awesome. That's the part where
really
it's like,
good.
oh yeah, these people watched Gurren Lagann, baby. Was that possible? Did Gurren Lagann exist yet?
Gurren Lagann was after the Virtual Console release.
So basically what you're saying is Gurren Lagann ripped off Sin and Punishment.
I guess so.
Because you're literally the size of the Earth, guarding the Earth from a meteor shower while trying to kill a different, not real Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking stupid. This entire game is so fucking stupid. And it's great. It's, if you have like 2 to 3 hours of time to just fuck around in a game that is, as long as you go in realizing you will not understand anything going on, you should try Sin and Punishment.
I think it's good. I think it's really good.
I don't know if I'd say really good, but I do think it is worth playing.
It's good enough that it got a sequel, baby.
Yeah, it got a sequel fucking, what, like 10 years later?
Like, immediately after the Virtual Console release.
And nobody played it?
Yeah, oh yeah, it sold 3 copies, one of them to me. I never played it, but I did buy it. I did my part.
The second copy to a retirement home somewhere, apparently.
I'm gonna play it.
Oh, maybe one day I'll play it. Maybe one day I'll play it. It's apparently on the Wii U eShop, so I could go buy it if I wanted. It did not come out right after the Virtual Console release, though. It came out in 2009.
Oh yeah, but that's like the thing where it's like it got greenlit immediately after the Virtual Console release.
Oh yeah,
because I guess the Virtual Console release must have sold well.
I guess. I can never tell with Virtual Console. I've always heard differently about how actually profitable it ever was.
Really specific things at really specific times were really profitable, is my understanding. So I think that Virtual Console on Wii was too successful for its own good, because it was really successful at first, and then all the other third parties that were buying into it were like, wait, why are we not just selling these ourselves?
Well, then
And
also
so-
it didn't help that when they went to Wii U, it was like wiping the slate clean, starting over.
Mm-hmm. And also the Wii U.
And also it was the Wii U, which was already a problem in its own.
So then by the time we got to Switch, there's no reason for a third party to really involve themselves in Nintendo Switch Online, and that's why the price went up $20, because they needed to pay Sega a lot of money for the Genesis.
Also, though, I said this on Twitter. This has nothing to do with Sin and Punishment. I don't care. I'm putting it out into the ether. Hey, Konami, you're not going to be releasing the N64 Castlevania games in a paid bundle anytime soon. Nobody will buy them. So just go ahead and put them on a Nintendo Switch Online. Cool, thank you.
Aren't
I would
those
like to play
famously terrible?
They sure are. I would like to play them. I've played bits of both of them. They're both really bad. No one would buy them if they put them out in a bundle. I want them. Put them on NSO. Anyways, Sin and Punishment is a fun game that you can play on Nintendo Switch Online with the expansion pack. Speaking of the expansion pack, so like I said earlier, I played with the Nintendo 64 controller that Nintendo shipped out that I bought immediately because I'm a hack. I didn't buy the NES or SNES controllers, but god damn it, this one immediately. And even with an N64 controller, this game's controls are fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, like, you're supposed to, like, use the C buttons to move?
are you?
Yeah.
So according to Wikipedia, they were looking at how most people held the N64 controller, which was middle paw, right claw thing. I don't know what the fuck to call them. And they were like, we want to make a game where you hold the left claw and middle claw. And then they did for some reason. And I don't know why.
Yes. No, I was thinking of the D-pad instead of the C buttons. You're correct.
Cause like, guys, we all held the N64 controller like that because it was designed for people with 3 hands. It was actually designed because D-pads.
Yeah, it was actually designed for exactly this purpose.
Yeah. But also like, they did such a weird job of it. A and B being, because like the reticle is the analog stick, moving the character is the D-pad, which I now that I'm thinking about it, it's very similar to how you could see a bit of a point A to point B in this going to the bonkers control scheme of something like Kid Icarus Uprising. It's got kind of the same reasoning behind it. You got to move your character and the reticle in opposite ways, but then they already had a game that did that. It was called Star Fox 64, and I didn't have to have an inhuman claw to play that.
It is a deeply strange video game.
It is absolutely bizarre. It's really weird that it exists. It's really weird that it came to the West at any point.
And it's really weird that Sakurai wants to forget it exists.
He wants to erase it now of all times. Maybe Star Successor just did that poorly.
I mean, Saki was still in the Wii U 3DS game.
Maybe they were just in denial during the Wii U and 3DS era.
Yes, that describes the entire Wii U.
You could still buy Sin and Punishment Star Successor on the Wii U. So, ergo, still holding out hope that maybe it would do all right. And then it still didn't. And so now Saki has been dropped into the pits of hell alongside Mario characters with hats and F-Zero.
What a game.
What a game. I genuinely don't have anything else to say about it. I can't.
That's how short this game is. There's so little to say because it's that short. Go play it.
Yeah, go play Sin and Punishment. Just like, you'll have a good time. You'll have a good time. You will be confused the entire way through, but I guarantee you'll probably have a good time. Maybe. I can't guarantee you that, but go play Sin and Punishment.
You will have a wild time.
You will have a time of some sort in some way. And you certainly won't forget it. I'll tell you that much for free.
This is one of our shortest episodes ever.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
That counts the majority of episodes for Earthbound and Final Fantasy VII that were just like quick check-ins.
I mean, Earthbound is still going to be our shortest episode ever. One of them was 10 minutes long.
Because we were in a rush.
Like, to a point where I look back and I'm like, we just shouldn't have bothered. We should have just waited.
We had to bother because E3 was like the next day.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been able to record for a while.
Anyways, that's all I have on Sin and Punishment. Go play it, everybody.
Play this game.
And then explain the plot to me. I legitimately want people to tweet at me with their personal interpretation of the Sin and Punishment plot.
Yeah, actually, just hit that. I I don't know what to do with this, but I want everyone to tell me who Achi is. Please.
Yes, please. Please tell me who Achi is. I need to know.
I need to know who Achi is because I don't.
Because she starts out as like, she's this friend, and then like literally on a fucking dime, suddenly she's the main antagonist. And I still don't understand why that change happened. So you could send those to @Smashterpieces on Twitter. Genuinely, this is a call to action. Please explain to us these things. And with that, we'll be back with whatever episode's upcoming. The way we're recording this one, we don't really know when this is going to go up. But we'll be back with that game soon. But until then, my name is Joe.
My name is Matt.
And we will see you next time for whatever the hell we're playing. Who the fuck is Achi? Ah, shit. I forgot to bring this up during the show, so this is going to be the stinger, I guess. Hey, Matt, what year would you say Sin and Punishment takes place?
The fact that you're asking me this question means that it's not going to be what I would have said, like, 2030 or something, but, like, I don't know.
Sin and Punishment is set in a dystopian, then near future of 2007.
What the fuck? Okay.
This game takes place before we graduated high school.
This game takes place when it released in the West.
It does? Fuck.
That's not enough time for how different the world is.
Oh my god.
I mean, okay, I guess now that I think about it, there actually really isn't that much like technology going on that would need to be different.
There's a robot cat that you fight. It's the second boss you fight.
That's just a ruffian. It's okay. They're aliens.
Are they?
I don't know.
The Wikipedia article doesn't even explain what they are. It just says that they're there.
I don't know. I don't know.